Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Alchemy of Abundance Virtual Summit. I'm so excited to be back with you here. I'm Chris Jolly, and today I'm joined by expert speaker and coach Becky Beach out of Dallas, Texas. Becky is a $1 million digital product seller and coach who's been featured in prestigious productions like Business Insider and Forbes. Fueled by her passion for empowering entrepreneurs, Becky is dedicated to helping others build and scale their own digital project businesses to new heights. Becky, thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, thank you. I'm really happy to be here.
I'm really happy you had some time to be with all of us. So looking forward to chatting with you today about how you grew your side hustle into $1 million business, the challenges of starting that business while working another job, 60 plus hours some weeks, and
Mhm.
still finding time to raise your son and be there for your husband. So why don't we go ahead and get started and dive right in? Tell everybody a little bit more about what it is that you do in your business and who you serve.
Oh, sure. Well, I help others start and grow their own digital product empires because I've created $1 million digital product empire that earns passive income while I sleep, eat, and play. And I help others to do the same.
Becky, that's awesome. You have that down real well. So how did you get into this? I know when we were talking before the interview, you told me you had been working for American Airlines on their websites and stuff like that. Now, this is not a huge leap, but what was the move to entrepreneurialism for you? How'd that come about?
When I was pregnant with my son, Brian, who's now almost 9 years old, I was working like a really toxic job and getting treated very unfairly. And also being shut down as a woman, like I wasn't able to get a promotion to get into management. Like I was at a senior level for 20 years, like I never got into management because I was in IT, so it's a very male dominated work environment. So I could play a part, or even my own leadership skills. I'm not sure, but I was just very miserable and I didn't feel like I was growing at all. So I thought, why don't I like try to start a blog? Because I read this article online and it said this one blogger was making like 30,000 a month. I'm like, wow, that's pretty good. If I could make just 1,000 a month, like that would be really helpful. Like maybe I should start a blog. So I started my blog, mombeach.com, and it helps women find success and balance. And I was doing that and I made like my first dollar. And then from there, I just kept growing. And then soon I was making like 10,000 a month from that blog. And I was still working the job because I was living in scarcity. I was afraid to quit my job, even though I was earning enough to support myself and family. I was still working the job. I should have quit like several years ago, but I just kept maintaining the job and doing my business on the side, like a side hustle.
Yeah.
And I started like a coaching business once I was able to quit my job 3 years ago. Finally, like my boss guilt tripped me. He didn't want me to leave because I was doing the work of three different people because I can design and develop like websites and design them too, and mobile apps and stuff like that. So he was like, he didn't want me to leave. So finally, I said, I got another opportunity. I have to leave. Like my other opportunity was my business that employed me full time.
Let's talk a little bit about that because I know for some there's this mindset a lot of times when you start a business that you really have to burn the boats and leave everything else behind you and just go all in. And sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't and can actually make your life a little bit harder. Can you explain what the transition was like for you and why you might have found it helpful, even though it was hard to balance the family life, the business, and the job, to stick it out as long as you did with the job?
Oh, yes, it was extremely hard. I had no social life at all. Like all the friends that I had made, they just drifted away. I didn't have time for anybody, and I also didn't have much time for my son. I was only spending maybe an hour a day with him, and on the weekends I was working on my business. So my husband like had to mostly take care of my son on the weekends because I was trying to make up for the lost time in my business because it was really picking up. So I didn't really have boundaries set. So nowadays I have set boundaries where I won't work on the weekends and I won't work after 4 p.m. or even 3 p.m. And on Fridays, I take the whole day off except for the mornings when I write my emails.
Yeah, it's so crucial that you learn to do that skill as an entrepreneur because it's not like when you're an employee and you show up to work and they give you a prescribed thing to do and then you do it and you go home at the end of the day and you stop thinking about it. When you're an entrepreneur, it's always with you. And it can be hard even just when you're at home to be present with your family, to shut your mind off and not think what the next thing is to do. And there's always a
Yeah.
next thing to do. It's never ending. So, what did you find useful in helping yourself to set that boundaries, and how have you like kept yourself motivated to keep doing that?
My motivation has got to be my son. He's my why. I suggest everybody that's looking to start their own business to think of a why. Like, why do you want to do the business? Is it like to spend more time with your kids or grandkids, or do you want to be able to go on like more vacations or even have like money to shop. You know, a lot of people don't even have money to shop. They live in paycheck to paycheck. Like I used to live that way. Like I was on welfare for a while, like when I'm at early 20s. So I know how it is to live like with in scarcity and like a struggle to make money. So maybe you want to make money, like that could be your why, just whatever. And I picked my son as my why, and he like makes me get up in the morning because I'm thinking about if I don't, I'm a very consequence thinking. Like if I don't do this, what's going to happen? Am I going to end up losing my house? Because when I was growing up, I was very poor and we were living in a home without electricity and running water for several years. So my mom had lost her job. So I'm thinking like, if I don't do this, what's going to happen? So I'm very consequence driven.
Makes sense. Now let's talk about that a little bit because I know for a lot of people, they have a very similar story, especially for a lot of entrepreneurs, because most of us don't just launch a business and are successful right away and the money's rolling right in and we're laughing all the way to the bank. It can be a lot of struggle and a lot of people come from a lot of hard places. What was the biggest changeover for you in mindset, or when was that moment when you were like, you know what, it's going to be okay. I can let go of that scarcity and I know that I'm going to make it with this.
Oh, great question. Yeah, so I was living in scarcity for like several years, and that's why I didn't leave my job because I was worried about the consequences. But like I said, I've always been very consequence driven. Like even to brush my teeth, if I don't brush my teeth, I'll just lay in bed and think, oh, if I don't brush my teeth, I think about all the stuff growing in my mouth. It's gonna end up having to be drilled and getting cavities. So that's the way I think. And it's really helped me. You may find another way. Maybe you're more benefit driven. What's going to happen if I do this? Am I going to gain? But I think about what I'm going to lose if I don't do it. So like I just think about that in order to make myself more productive. And also I have an abundance mindset. It's like the law of attraction where money is always flowing to me. Like every day I'm making sales. I get notifications sent to my email. I'll write an email in the morning, usually do affiliate marketing or promote my own products. Every morning I send an email, multiple emails a day, and I'm always getting passive income. And also I have like blog posts set up that have affiliate links in them, you know, and ads running on my blog. So it's just constant money coming to me, and it's created this abundance mindset where if I put value out into the universe each day, then money's going to come back to me. But if I live in a scarcity and I'm not doing anything, see, nothing's getting to me. I'm like closing everything off. That's living in scarcity where you're saying, I'm so poor, and you're not helping anybody. You're just living in a pity party, and nobody wants to be invited to a pity party no one wants to come to.
Yeah, for sure. You know, that brings up some really great stuff too, because I think maybe a lot of that scarcity can come from actually the employee mindset in one way, because when you're an employee, you just go to work and you get your paycheck and that's it. And unless you start a side hustle or get overtime or whatever, you don't necessarily have a lot of options to bring in more income. But as an entrepreneur, once you get things rolling, you can see that now, oh, I have these opportunities for passive incomes. Now, not only can I help people with this, but now I can offer coaching and I can do all of these different things. And then having all of those income streams in really does increase the feeling of abundance. And like you said, having those cues around are so important as well. If your phone dings every time you make a sale, or you ring the bell like they do classically, or you have some kind of emotional anchor or visual cue or whatever, anytime you can feel a little bit grateful and abundant, that way, even if you're not doing tons of sales at the moment, or you're going through a challenging time, it helps you to keep your mindset up. For you, when things get challenging, what do you do to help keep yourself focused and going?
I'll just again focus on the why, which is Brian. He's my little 8-year-old son. He's just an amazing child. He's so smart. Like he got straight A's, and I'll pay him like these Brian bucks. Every time he gets an A, he'll get
Nice.
like a $10 coupon called a Brian buck. So I'll just focus on him, and it just keeps me he keeps me going. Because like when I was single and I didn't have a family and I was just working the corporate life, I wasn't really aiming to be an entrepreneur. My whole family is not entrepreneur. Like I'm the only entrepreneur in my whole family, like that I know of. Yeah, so you just got to just keep clinging to your why, and then it helps you keep going. Because I know being an entrepreneur can be very hard and also isolating. So it's also important to meet other entrepreneurs. Like I belong to a lot of groups of other entrepreneurs, and we also all connect and we can chat during the day.
Yeah, absolutely key, because when you are a business owner, just by nature, most people are not. And so you don't necessarily have that sounding board or those people who have similar experiences to speak to unless you go out and find it. That's why something like a mastermind or an entrepreneurs group can be so key. Now, I want to talk about the family piece a little bit, because Obviously, that's your why. That's so important to you. How did you find the time, aside from learning those boundaries really well, to manage your family and your business? And what would you recommend to somebody who either has a new family or just finds himself struggling to juggle all those things at once?
Oh yes, I use the Pomodoro technique with time blocking. So I'll set 25-minute time blocks and I'll put them on a Google Calendar because with Google Calendar, you could use it on your phone or you can use it on your computer and you can use it on the go. So you can always see when you have something scheduled and I use it for everything to keep, and I put like the time blocks on the Google Calendar. So I have like only do one big task a week. And I also will jot down everything on this planner. This is a really cute Erin Condon planner that's customized with my name. It's like super cute. And I'll put everything I need to do, and then I'll arrange during the week like what time to do it. And I break it up into little time blocks. And that's just really easy, especially, because a lot of people don't want to just sit for hours at a time and do stuff. Because if you sit 20 minutes at a time, that could be bad for your heart. So it's not healthy to just sit constantly for hours. So with the time blocking, I usually will get up for 5 minutes between the time blocks. Maybe I'll check on my pets because I have three fur babies. They live with me, and my son's currently at the summer camp. So I'll just get up and check on everybody, and then that really helps a lot. And also that it just keeps you from getting overwhelmed and stressed.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of alchemizing abundance, that's such a great hack because a lot of people, and especially a lot of entrepreneurs I know, feel like they don't have enough time in the day. And then, unless you do like a time study or you get real focused with how you use your time like that, you don't realize how much time you're probably wasting in a day. And there is so much more time and an abundance of opportunities to get the things done you want, as long as you can be focused and you know where you should put your energy. So absolutely wonderful tip. Now, Becky, I want you to tell me about a time in your business that felt the best, or a time when you were making a ton of money in your business, and why you thought that was, or like what that special sauce is to find that perfect point where like you feel great and you're making a lot of money in your business.
Yeah, I get that feeling. Of course, I get some months that are worse than others. Like in May, it was a horrible month. I've never had such low sales last month. And this month has really been picking up big. Like I'm already made my goal for the whole month at this
Nice,
point in time.
congrats.
Yes, I try to make at least 30,000 a month in sales. I've already made that goal. So I think that maybe this month might be a $50,000 month because last month I think I made 15,000 in sales. And I know that may sound like a lot, but for me, like that's not very good. Like I'm used to making a lot more than that every month. And yeah, so because I got worried because sometimes my expenses will outweigh my income. So I got to really watch out for that.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the ways that you can continue to feel abundant even in those challenging times is if you're managing your cash flow correctly.
Yes, well, I did have lots of savings because when I quit my job, I had $50,000 in savings. It was cash. It wasn't invested. It was just pure cash savings in my bank. So I did feel comfortable to leave my job. So I do suggest, as you said, you really need to have a cash reserve. If you're going to quit your job and then go into a business full time, it's always good to have like at least some savings, at least $1,000. Probably don't need 50,000 like how much I had, but that way, if something goes wrong, you still have enough money, and then you could use that until you can find another job or your business picks up.
Yeah. No, Becky, I interview a lot of entrepreneurs, and one of the things that I find very frequently, especially for newer entrepreneurs, is they have a fear around hiring. They're very apprehensive because you started this business, maybe it doesn't make a ton of money already at that point, and now you find that you're at the point where you need to hire somebody to help, and that's more money going out, and you're concerned, what if they don't work out? You have all these fears. But that is more of the scarcity mindset, right? Because if you look at it from the abundance mindset, you get somebody
Yeah.
to help you, you have more output, you can focus on the more important things. For you, what was that key moment where you were like, you know what, I need help and it's worth it for me to go out there and find it?
Oh, this is a really great question. Like I have a full-time VA that helps me in several contractors. And the full-time VA, I met her on Upwork.com, and I narrowed it down to people in the Philippines because Filipinos really need work, especially during this time. Their country has been hit hard by storms and economic hardships. So a lot of them are really wanting to work, and the US dollar goes a long way in their country. So you're actually doing them a service by employing them. And they're very smart people. They're very, like most of them are very hardworking, and they want to get the job done. And then a plus for you is they don't cost as much as hiring an American or maybe somebody else over in Europe, like where it's more expensive to live. So I hired a Filipino or a Filipina, and she works for me full time, and I pay her like 2,000 a month, and that's a very good salary in their country. Like 1,000 is a good salary, but like I pay her enough so she can live pretty large over there. And it's just she's just wonderful for my business. Like she is so smart. What I'll do is I'll create videos, like all of SOPs, standard operating procedures, and you just create videos of the tasks that you're doing in your business. You can hand it off to the VA, and then they can actually follow what you're doing. So I recommend doing video training because most people are visual, or you can also do like a PDF training where you have screenshots. If people are more, they're able to read, that helps them more as like reading and stuff like that. Yeah, so it just depends on the learning style of your VA.
Yeah, bringing in that employee really just frees you up to leverage your time better and give you more opportunities to do sales, the sort of thing that brings in revenue and not get you bogged down in the minutia of running your business.
Yes, a drawback because she lives in the Philippines is she works while I'm asleep. So almost every day I have to actually talk to her like 8 p.m. That's when she starts work, is at 8 p.m. And that's when I'm starting to get ready for bed, like getting Brian to bed and getting wound down for the day. So usually like at 8 p.m. that's when we'll talk like for an hour or so. Then she works and I go to bed.
Yeah, that can definitely be challenging. We would love, my partner and I, to spend more time in Asia, and that's the one hard thing to do is most of the people we talk to and work with are in the States and Europe, that sort of thing, and the time difference is definitely pretty big. Becky, tell everybody what it's like working with you. So when your clients come to you for coaching, what is the process that they go through, and what kind of outcome are they hoping to get?
I have like lots of different people from all walks of life coming to me, like both men and women. They're because I was on Nick Loper's Side Hustle Nation, and that brought in a lot of leads, like a lot of people interested in what I do. And my calendar was just totally booked up for like the month because I give like free calls just to talk to me and see if I'm a right fit. So my free call calendar was just so totally booked up. So during these calls, like what I like to do is get to know them first. What are they doing? What have they done in the past? What kind of business are they looking to start? What is their niche they want to do? Or maybe they have trouble finding the right niche and they need help like for that. So I usually will just get a feel and talk to them for a while during this 15-minute call, and then I'll tell them what my programs are. Like, 'cause I have a membership called businessbeachclub.com, and this membership, helps you start and grow your own digital product business. And we have like tons of success stories. Like there's people that have been, they're in this membership currently making like over 10,000 a month, and they quit their jobs. Now they're just earning a full-time income online thanks to the membership, because I just have so much information. It's been going on 3 years.
Now, I'm a firm believer that the better that you feel, the more money that you tend to make. But business, as we know, can be extremely challenging. It's easy to get down on yourself sometimes, especially when things aren't going your way. What can you recommend to other entrepreneurs, aside obviously from their why, which we've talked about? What's a good tip to keep them focused or something they can do to help cultivate that mindset and continue to feel good in their business when things get challenging?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. What I have done is I have all these little sticky notes, like they're affirmation, like positive affirmations. And I put them on my monitor, and they're also in my bedroom, on my vanity, and also in my bathroom, on my bathroom mirror. And also have them on some pictures when I walk by the house. Like there's like sticky notes on the pictures. My husband's like, why do you have all these sticky notes? And then my son was irritated by the sticky notes I put on around his picture, and he just tore them up and threw them away because I had so many sticky notes. But they help because I'll walk by them, I'll see them, because this one says I am trustworthy, I'm creative, just stuff like that. Because I had this boss that told me I wasn't creative enough, and it really hurt my self-esteem. Like he was a very toxic person, and he would tell me I wasn't creative enough, I didn't deserve my title, and that just totally destroyed my self-esteem. And I'm a 6 foot tall woman, and I'm very big boned, and he's like really short, and he made me feel like I was 3 inches during that time. Like my self-esteem was in the gutter. So these have really helped my self-esteem, like seeing these and constantly affirming myself, because I used to think I was stupid, fat, and ugly. My mother would tell me that. She was just really caused my self-esteem to plummet. So when I see like beautiful, I'm smart, driven, like that just really helps because some people can establish a negative tape in your head. If you have a family member or a friend that constantly tells you negative things, that can really get to you, and you'll keep saying it yourself even when you're not around them or they have passed away. Like my mother passed away, but I'm still sometimes I'll still get that tape in my head.
Yeah, absolutely. Those messages that are especially told to us as young children get wired into our subconscious and become the limiting beliefs and the blocks towards having more abundance, more pleasure in our life, and that sort of thing. And I firmly believe that's one of the benefits of running a business that people who don't never really get to experience is it's such a great mirror of who you are and where you're at and what your beliefs and your blocks are. And as you go through challenges in business, it helps you to uncover this kind of deeper thing within you. Okay, Becky, now the other thing I want to talk about is you have an offering for everybody here, and it's called the Productivity Made Easy Mastermind. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Oh, sure. Because remember, I was talking about the Pomodoro technique. I go into much more greater detail in that, and also other tips and tricks that I use to trick myself. And you can use the same to trick yourself into being more productive. One of them in the course actually will teach you like how to make yourself sit down. Because what I'll do is I'll say to myself, well, can't you just work on this for just 5 minutes? Like the 5 minute rule. I think Mel Robbins had something to do with that, like the five minute rule. You just do something for 5 minutes, and then when you do that, you start doing it. And also have no 0 days where I'll talk about that in the course too. No 0 days. At least do something towards your goal in order to get it done. Because otherwise, if you have a 0 day, then you haven't gotten to your goal. And what I like to say is no steps forward is 2 steps back. Because if you keep putting off your goal, like I'll tell you, my blog Mom Beach, I stopped working on it for a couple of years after I started it because it just wasn't going anywhere and I was feel like quitting. So I didn't even work towards the blog or anything for a couple of years. And then finally, when I had a negative, awful, toxic boss that told me I wasn't creative enough and squished my self-esteem, that's when I started working on my blog again. That was the motivation it took. So if I met that guy again today, I would just give him a great big hug because he like really propelled me to be more productive and get out there and do stuff. I wasn't going to let like this guy, like he's like a shrimpy man telling me like that wasn't good enough.
Yeah, sometimes our haters really can be some of our best assets, and
Yeah.
the most challenging and worst times of your life turn out to be the biggest blessings. I love it. So that's the Productivity Made Easy Mastermind. The link is right below the video here, so you can go check that out. Okay, now I think the last thing that I want to talk about today is when we talk about abundance, a lot of people's mind right away goes to money and having a lot of money. But as we know, it's so much more than that. A lot of the time, it's having a lot of time, it's having a lot of freedom. And what you find is, yeah, money is great, but you don't want the money for the money. Nobody, maybe some people do, but most people don't just enjoy sitting around with big stacks of cash and grinning and doing nothing with it. So
Or be like Scrooge McDuck and have a big money bin and just swimming and stuff.
exactly. So for you, what is that broader definition of abundance? And what is that lifestyle that you're working towards with your business when you'll know this is what I'm doing it for. This is the abundance I was seeking when I left my job and realized there was more out there for me.
Oh yeah, because I was a senior level of my job, I was making multiple six figures in my job. And yeah, so I left the job, not because of the money, because I wanted to have more time. Like time is more important to me than money. And even like at first I was making a lot less and was at my job, at my business, but now I'm making like double or even some years triple that I was making in my job. So like I'm able to have more time. And then like yesterday I took off the afternoon to go get my nails done. When I like to get my nails done really pretty. And my nails had grown out, so I was able to have time to take off anytime I want. If my son is having trouble or needs me, I can take the whole day off if I want. I'll answer to anybody. Like that's worth more to me than all the money in the world. Even like I was doing UX design and development, and Amazon contacted me and had for a job like that, a hiring manager at Amazon. And I turned it down. Like this happened a couple months ago, and I turned it down. Like he was offering a big paycheck, but it wasn't worth to me to work for somebody else. Like I rather make less and work for myself than work for somebody else because the money doesn't matter, the time matters.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why for most people, their goal is to get to that financial freedom so that they have the abundance of time to be
Mhm.
with their family and to follow their passions and help their community and do all those wonderful things.
Oh, of course, because I'm able to get out in the community. Like I help with this human trafficking charity called Unbound, and I help with the Arlington Life Shelter. And I'm also in a nonprofit women's chorus and help out in that. So I'm able to serve the community.
I love it. Such wonderful causes. Becky, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the Alchemy of Abundance Virtual Summit. Thanks so much for taking some time to share what you do with everybody.
Oh, thanks so much.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been wonderful having you. All right. We will check in with everybody later.